is Erkan Suçular. Can somebody confirm you can hear me? Okay, perfect. So it's a very lively audience today. I really like the fact that many people joined us today. I really appreciate. Let me open my camera if I can. Finally done. How are you guys? Thank you very much for joining. For the ones who basically meet me for the first time in this session, my name is Erkan Suçular. I am basically the founder and chief training operator in the International DevOps Certification Academy. Actually, we haven't done such a session since a while, I think since about 5 months or so, because of other priorities I've been pursuing. But I thought today, could be a good day to do another session. I apologize for my hair. I visited a hairdresser last time in 1998. No, sorry. No, not so bad, but it has been like almost 3 months. Last time I was with a hairdresser. In Switzerland, I live in Switzerland. I'm in Switzerland at the moment, and in Switzerland, things has been also quite rough, probably like here in many other countries. But things are getting better since a few weeks. I think the hairdressers have been also open. But I'm a bit in the observer mode now. How these things will go out, and it looks like things are quite optimistic in Switzerland. Yesterday, the government also has made some declarations that they are now removing the restrictions of events, I think up to 300 people or so. This means things are getting easier and easier in life, and hopefully in the next few weeks I will also correct my hair as well. So today you have to bear with me how I look like. Anyway, how are you guys doing today? How is the situation in your own country? Would you mind telling me a bit where you live and how things are going in your own region? Kind of how is the life, how is the business? I hope that you still have jobs, and I really hope that your employers see the value you create for their organizations. But it's very clear that it's a very tough time now for the overall worldwide industries, and obviously IT industry is not immune to this. Tell me, how is it going for you? How are you doing since last few months? How do you develop yourself? How do you want to prepare yourself for the upcoming challenging times, because now economy is going to down, and then hopefully at some stage it will go up. But this means right now we're in the very beginning of a challenging period. And what do you do to prepare yourself for the period? And let me also tell hello for the ones who have introduced themselves. So we have Anandi with us. Good morning, Anandi. We have Ritesh. Hello, Ritesh. And Lenoela. Nikula. Hello, Yolena. And we have Naveen with us. Sanjay. Hello. Adetosun. Hello. Rajesh. Hello. Chidambaram. Hi. Manesh. Hi. Thank you very much for joining. And Mukbanga. Hi. We have Anandi. Hi, Anandi. And Satyam, good morning. Jagadish, good morning. And Emmanuel, good morning. And Isa, good morning. And Naveen, good morning. And Doa, good morning. And Adetosun, good morning from Houston, Texas. Wonderful. It must be quite early, Adetosun, isn't it, in Texas at the moment? It must be like early morning, probably like 4 or 5 a.m. I really appreciate your commitment to join this session so early. Okay, some people can't hear me. Interesting. What's going on? Yeah, I think you wrote that you couldn't hear me before I started the session. You must be hearing me, right? I assume. Yes, you must be hearing me, because a lot of people confirmed that you could hear me. Perfect. Okay, you see me as well, Satyam. Wonderful. Thanks for the confirmation. And wonderful. We have Lena with us, Anuj with us, Kay with us, Seun, and yeah, perfect. 5 a.m. Wow, I mean, it must be quite early, but you will have a fresh start on your day. Wonderful. Okay, that's correct. Yeah, for the ones who can't hear me or can't see me or can't see the slide deck, please feel free to join. And Lena from Germany, wonderful. We are neighbors, Lena. I am basically like 100 kilometers away from the South Germany's border. Okay, perfect. First of all, thank you very much for joining this session today. It really means a lot. We are kind of joining from different corners around the world, and we are now living in a world where no one even spent a few other minutes for someone else. Now you came to this session. This really means a lot to me, and I will attempt to use this chance you gave to me today as much as I can by sharing as much information as is possible. Obviously, this session is, it will be limited to 60 to probably tops 90 minutes. So I couldn't basically cover, everything important in this session, but I will try to make an attempt to ensure that I will give you a heads up in terms of, what is important, when you learn about the DevOps process, and what is not important. And then I will also guide you towards the rest of our training materials and contents, so that you can continue learning even after this session. So this is the whole idea in this session. And by the way, with your permission, just to be clear, with your permission, towards the end of the session, I will also make an offer, which is specific to the audience of these participants like you. And with that offer, if you plan to make, DevOps certifications for your career, you will also have the chance to get an amazing discount. But our focus is not the certification in that session. Our focus is basically the information about DevOps, what is important for you to understand about the DevOps process. And then towards the end of the session, I'm going to give you the offer, and you will be free to act or not. But in essence, the session is all about DevOps, not about the programs, certification programs we are running. So everyone, would you mind telling me from which part of the world or country are you joining today? We have Sempa from Ghana, and Ritesh from India, wonderful. And Ionela from Romania, great. And Seon from Nigeria, and Isa from Pakistan, and Anandi, India, Manesh, India, and Tosa, Egypt, and we have Satyam, Pratik, Rajesh, Nagaruju from India, and we have Kay from UK, United Kingdom, and we have Ashish from Nepal. Okay, as I guess it's a very multinational audience. That's perfect. So we do these sessions in that format, ladies and gentlemen. And hello, Marie from Florida. Wow, it must be also quite early in Florida. I apologize. I had to wake up you, ladies and gentlemen, so early. But yeah, I really appreciate your time, Mary, as well. Okay, in the session, the format is like that. Okay, there is a formal presentation agenda that I want to pursue. But in the end, we can basically direct, our course based on your questions as well. Because my idea is that, as we are doing this session, live, let's take the advantage of being live today, and therefore, use me also to get the answers of your questions. Okay, this is an important chance, because another version of the same session has been anyway recorded, and it has been given as a bonus part of our training material, and the technicalities, that I'm going to talk today has been anyway recorded. You have many other chances to listen to this, but you can use this live session basically to cover the questions, and therefore, feel free to interrupt me. I can't promise I will interrupt, in a given moment, but feel free to interrupt me. Then, I will do my best, to cover, each and every question. Let's do this in that format. In the end, as I said, the subject matter that I want to cover in this presentation has been anyway, covered in my other, offline recorded training material. You can have a chance to look at them afterwards, and then let's focus on, live interaction in that session. And so far, I think you, ladies and gentlemen, do it very well with that interaction. Let's keep on this momentum. Okay, perfect. We have Anamika as well from India. Thank you very much for joining and introducing yourself, Anamika. Okay. So this session is, as I mentioned, live, and just for attending today, I'm going to give you a number of bonuses, and these bonuses, will help you to again, keep on, learning DevOps. And in the end of the session, I will basically show you how you can access these materials as well. And there are a lot of distractions, all around us. The social media, the buzzing telephone. Most of us, I assume that working from our homes. You may be interrupted by spouse or by your child, etc. But I really encourage you that please do your best not to get yourself interrupted by others, so that try to get most out of this session. A little bit about myself. This session is not about me, but just a little bit about myself. As I mentioned, my name is Erkan Suçular. I'm living and working in Switzerland, where our companies have been headquartered. I studied computer engineering, and I have a master's degree in computer science as well. I've done almost everything imaginable in the IT industry, from being a developer, then being an architect, then being a quality assurance specialist. Then I was head of quality assurance for another telecommunication operator. Then I've been working for Accenture Switzerland, and I led and built their digital delivery workforce in Switzerland, Germany, and Austria. And I basically experience in the first hand what I'm explaining to you today. Maybe the difference between myself and then the other trainers, you may go and pay money, and you don't pay money to me at the moment, if you notice, this, because the session is free of charge. The difference is, I'm explaining here not only what I have learned from the books, but also what I explained in the first hand. In Accenture, when I left the company, my team size was about, more than, 200 people, about 230 people. And basically we built the digital, transformation in many different industries, including telecommunication, finance, and public sector companies, including governmental companies, etc. And therefore, with that, idea in mind, please feel free to leverage this experience as much as you can today. Okay, so I think I covered this slide. I'm going to, my goal today is, to tailor this presentation as much as is possible based on your, questions and remarks and what you want to get. But again, let's put the first question on the table so we clarify this. Tell me, ladies and gentlemen, what is your goal today? What will be a big win today to get after the end of the session? What could be, an important goal for you, so that in the end of the session, you will tell that, hey, it was really nice that I could, spend my, 60 to 90 minutes in that session. What would be a big win for you today? Please feel free to write, you don't need to write, large paragraph, just put a few keywords, this would give me the idea. Okay, so you are typing your big wins. Hopefully, let me answer Isa's question. So Isa basically has been asking how the DevOps will help to a quality assurance professional. It's a great question, Isa. Let me explain, very briefly, why DevOps is important. DevOps is important because DevOps is now becoming the next generation of agility. But why? The reason is, the typical, agile software engineering frameworks, such as, Scrum, and maybe the lighter version of Scrum, Kanban, basically have been focusing on the software engineering, software development aspects of the, software engineering workforce. Whereas, DevOps looks at the things from a bit, broader perspective, not only from the coding, the software, development point of view, but DevOps also includes everything else which is included in the software, delivery organization. And this starts from the business, from the enterprise goals, and then comes to the, business analysis, and then comes to the architecture. In DevOps, you need to have architects who not only, architects the software, but also architects the process, because there is no one-size-fits-all recipe. Then you need architects. Then obviously you need, developers, you need people, who is going to design the software. You need, UX designers, you need, project managers, list managers. And obviously, what also a very important factor in this overall software engineering flow is the quality assurance. As quality assurance professional, I assume you're a quality assurance professional because you asked this question. As a quality assurance professional, you are also embedded to this, big picture of this, enterprise. Don't see this only, a software engineering workforce. Okay, see this as an overall enterprise, because DevOps is basically, covering the overall enterprise. And basically, without understanding, say it you're a project manager, say it you're a tester, say it you're a, let's say release manager, say it you're an architect, say it you're a I don't know, whatever, the database administrator, or network specialist or network security specialist. It really doesn't matter. You really need to understand the DevOps process ISA. And therefore, it's quite important, as a quality assurance professional, you start seeing the big picture, and DevOps process basically will enable you to start to see this big picture. This is why DevOps is important for you as well. And the same answer is also valid for everyone else, because regardless of your goal and duty and obligation in your IT ecosystem or IT business ecosystem, you need to understand the DevOps process to catch the train of next generation of agility, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I hope this was the answer. little bit a long answer, but I hope this clarified for you. This was a good question, is to clarify also the importance of DevOps from everyone's point of view. Thanks for asking this question, Isa. Okay, so Chidambaram has DevOps career and foundation. Okay, let me also, I will also tell you some success stories how DevOps helps people. Chidambaram, there will be some slides that I'm going to cover this. Adityon, to understand how the architecture works as a business analyst. We also have slides about this. I'm not going to talk in great detail about how to, architect the DevOps, process, but I'm going to give you all the metadata, Adityon, how you can get started. And from the rest of our material, you will have a better chance to, deep dive, even further, Adityon. In Nagaraju, opportunities and certifications info. This will come in the very end in Nagaraju, because the session is not about, pitching you our certification programs, but in the end of the session, you will have the opportunity to see, to get more information about the certification programs as well, Nagaraju. And Ritesh, how to manage the team leaders and developers of my team. This is a good question, Ritesh. I'm not sure if in this version of presentation I have slides to cover this, but I have a draft information which basically help people to enable them great leaders in the DevOps process environments. There are a number of tips. Hopefully they are in that session, but in case I can't cover this question very well, Ritesh, please feel free to type me a short email after the session. I will send you a number of bullet points, and these bullet points will help you, Ritesh, to establish yourself as a credible leader in your organization. And Suresh, want to have a good understanding of DevOps. That's perfect. This is one of our major goals as well, Suresh, anyway. And DevOps, how can I get the benefit to carry out in a job? As I mentioned, Doha, DevOps is becoming the next generation of agility. Nowadays, everyone is a little bit informed about Scrum, because Scrum is now the mainframe, way of how companies are doing their, agile software engineering work. Now, this is the direction of where DevOps is going. DevOps is now where Scrum used to be in about, 2010. If you remember, these times, if you have been, long enough in the IT industry, you may remember that, in early, 2010s, only, few people, used to be knowledgeable about Scrum, and they saw that, okay, this is where the industry is going. Okay, then, now 10 years later in 2020, you can't imagine many people now in the IT industry who says, hey, I have no idea about Scrum. What is this? There is no such a person. Hey, guy, have you been living in Moon, since 10 years? You have no idea about Scrum. And DevOps is now going to the same direction. DevOps is now where Scrum used to be in 2010, in 2020, and we clearly see that, from the trend, over the last few years, since 2016, 2017, now DevOps is going, where Scrum used to be some years ago. And therefore, it's important, information to inform yourself about Scrum DOA in terms of, career goals and, feature plans and feature needs. And Emmanuel, he said he's currently unemployed and he needs a new career. I'm sorry to hear that you are unemployed, but Emmanuel, I really hope that this information you are getting learning here in that session, maybe a few remarks that myself or another participant in that session is going to make today, will help you, to get a perfect understanding about DevOps, and hopefully in your next job interview with that information you will have a better chance to impress the other party, and then hopefully get one step closer to an amazing career. So stay with us, Emmanuel, and hopefully we are going to help you. And Marie, I'm working as a QA analyst and I want to leverage my career. Perfect. As I mentioned before to Isa, Marie, nobody is outside, nobody is set outside of a DevOps, project environment. Regardless you're a business person, regardless you're a functional or non-functional person, or regardless you're a technical or non-technical people, it really doesn't matter. DevOps process need to be understood by everyone in an IT enterprise, including business analysts, architect, quality assurance people, the test people, the project managers, release managers, and obviously including executives, right? Because executives need to understand what they are going on, right? And Seon, the difference between DevOps and Agile methodologies and their applications. That's a good question. We wrote a very long article about that, Seon. I probably won't, deep dive about the difference between DevOps and Agile methodologies. But Seon, in case I don't cover this question in deep detail, please send me a reminder after the meeting. Send me a short email. I will text you the link of that article where we, give a very, very comprehensive explanation of difference between DevOps and other Agile frameworks. So you will see this as well. So thank you very much, Isa. I think you are thanking me about the answer I gave you a bit before. How DevOps is applicable in test automation. Okay, I'm going to give some examples about this, Anandi and Ritesh, and feature in DevOps. I think I mentioned about feature of DevOps, Ashish. So as I told you, DevOps is now dominating the agility in IT environments, and we see that it will clearly dominate how we do our business in the IT at the moment. Okay, Ashish want to have a copy. I don't know copy of what you want to, but if you send me an email afterwards, I'm going to help you, Ashish. And what about CMI process in DevOps? It's not like, Ritesh, CMMI or let's say ITIL, etc. They are not mutually exclusive together with DevOps. Okay, so you've been doing CMMI with the waterfall since many years, and this is again what you do in the DevOps process as well. It's not like versus comparison. Okay, it's not like CMMI versus DevOps. It's not like DevOps versus Scrum. It's not like DevOps versus Kanban. These things are not mutually exclusive. Think like a ninja. Okay, ninja doesn't say, hey, this is my sword and this is my star. This is my fist. He doesn't say, okay, this is my biggest weapon. Okay, we don't think in that way as IT professionals. We basically see which kind of equipment, which kind of weapons would work for what kind of projects, and then we basically learn this by doing mistakes most of the time. And again as IT professionals, how we have to approach things not versus point of view. The question is not if Scrum is better than DevOps or if DevOps is better than Scrum. Okay, the question is not DevOps versus Kanban. The question is not Kanban versus Scrum. The question is not waterfall versus Scrum. The question is these processes or elements or tools have weaknesses and strengths. The real question we have to answer as IT professionals, because we are cognitive creatures, right? As IT professional, the most important question that we have to answer is which ones of this weapons would work in what type of projects. This is what we learn among experience. Therefore, my basically honest suggestion to all of you is that don't disclose, don't set any piece of information apart from your focus. Okay, try to learn as much as you can, and then you will see that there are many things you get from a lot of processes, right? Wrongly or rightly, many, let's give an example from Scrum, because I'm sure that most of you must be familiar with Scrum. Let's give an example about Scrum. Therefore, in Scrum framework, many companies have been now mixing Scrum and Waterfall, right? Is this necessarily a very bad practice? I don't think so. There are pros and cons of doing this, but maybe there are companies who work best in that way by simply mixing two processes into each other, right? And therefore, please try to see this in a bird eye point of view. Hey, what is CMMI? Why it is important for my company? What is Scrum? How and why it can be important for my company? Or what is Kanban? Kanban is a very lightweight version of agile process framework, project management framework. You can even apply this while you are teaching your child, or coordinating an event in your family, etc. Why or how it can be important in my company. This is the point of view we must be looking at. Okay, Anush said, being a project manager and currently using Azure DevOps for project management, I want to leverage DevOps to enhance project management skills. That's perfect. This is, one of the areas we cover is Anush, unlike many other, DevOps, training programs. Many training programs are, solely technicality oriented, and basically DevOps is not only techniques, okay? Especially when you look at from the enterprise point of view, usually in many companies, jump onto the DevOps wave by their development teams. But unfortunately, then what happens is, they buy, tool 1, tool 2, tool 3, and then it's becoming, all about tools. And then obviously they fail in the, long-term agenda when they basically deploy DevOps in their organizations. So therefore, the training programs or the certification programs we offer, goes in a different way. We not only focus on the technicalities, but also we cover, the DevOps process and implementation and transformation point of view, how you get started in your DevOps organization, how you architect not only your software, but also how you architect about your, continuous integration, continuous delivery framework. Obviously, I can't cover everything in great detail today, but I'm going to give you some clues how you can get started with all these concepts, Anush. So we are going to cover this question also in great detail as well. So Manish has a good question. Was DevOps transformed from Scrum and Agile? That's a perfect question. DevOps has been basically inherited from many other processes, and Scrum and Agile is only one of them. But I'm going to give you some other, process frameworks that has been coming even from the history, not from the last 10 or 20 years. But I'm going to give you some other ideas, Manish, to little bit clarify in your mind, the historical processes, the historical concepts, how DevOps has been, inherited, what kind of other process, DevOps drives. That's a great question. Okay, and Rajesh, Rajesh asked about a question about competitor. So basically, Rajesh, in our website, we have again another article which explains, the advantages of DevOps certification programs about from DevOps Certification Academy. In case you can't find this article, send me an email afterwards, and I'm going to give you this the access to this article as well. Thank you to Anush. Okay, let's continue. So let's get it started from that point. Okay, so again, to a little bit tailor my own, speech, my own presentation, I want to understand your, current level of information. about DevOps. Okay. So to you, ladies and gentlemen, tell me, again, I'm not asking you to write, 5 paragraphs of explanation. You can even give me 1, 2 keywords. That's perfectly fine. So please share with me and with the audience, what is DevOps? Okay, nice answers have been already floating. Ritesh said collaboration of developers and operational staff. Nice. Not only this though, Ritesh, this is one of the typical answers we receive, when we ask this question. As I mentioned to you before, when I clarified the point, DevOps is not only about, the software engineering part, it also, influences everything in an IT organization. What I meant to say is, DevOps is not only for the engineering, workforce, okay? Regardless your role in the IT ecosystem, again, you could be a leader, okay? You could be a project manager, you could be a release manager, you could be a test automation specialist, you could be a database administrator, you could be a network, admin, whatever, okay? DevOps basically includes everyone, okay? It's not only, there is a misleading, tiny bit in the DevOps itself, which is the name of the DevOps, because as we know, Dev corresponds to development and Ops corresponds to operations. And many people, have the tendency to think that DevOps is the combination of, development and operations people. But it's not limited to development and operations. This is something we have to understand very clearly. This is, I think, in the next slides I'm going to focus on this, quite a lot in detail as well. But also, it's a good point that I want to cover. I can't really overemphasize this. DevOps is not only for developers or operations people. So, but still a great start. Perfect. So, is a combination of development and operations, right? But just remember the remark that I just said in the last minute. Nagarujo, automating the integration. Perfect. Yes, automating the integration is not DevOps though, Nagarujo, but this is one of the results, okay? One of the outcomes that you get from DevOps, Nagarujo. Because if in a job interview, Nagarujo, if somebody asks you what is DevOps, then automating the integration. Okay, how do you do this? Why do you do this, okay? So automating the integration is not in the DevOps, but it's one of the byproducts, okay? It's one of the outcomes, but it's still perfect, Nagarujo. Thanks for the feedback. Rajesh said collaboration tool. Yes, it's in a way coming from the, we say that Agile is one of the, the frameworks that DevOps inherits, and therefore, collaboration and teamwork is in the DNA of Agile processes, right? And therefore, this is one of the aspects, Rajesh, collaboration and collaboration tool. That's a good remark. Thank you. Ashish, integration between coding and sysadmin. Yes, this is again one aspect, Ashish, but it's far more than this. Aditon said it's an IT process enterprise. I mean, you aim to say, Aditon, if I interpret what you wrote correctly, you meant to say it's a enterprise IT process. Yes, it makes sense. If this is what you meant to say, yes, it covers not only the IT, but it also covers enterprise, and then we can say enterprise IT process if we force it a bit. Yes, it makes sense. It's a good way of formulating this, Adityan. Thank you. And Manesh, more controlled, agile way to handle project. This is interesting. More controlled, agile way, Manesh said. This sounds very nice. I like this, Manesh. I like this quite a lot, to be honest. Yes, this is one of the reasons. This is again, my goal in this session is not to undermine any other process and say, hey, DevOps is the perfect. No, this is not close to what I'm trying to do today. But what you highlighted, more controlled, agile way to handle projects is a good way of formulating what DevOps does. The reason is that some of the projects, some of the project management frameworks, besides DevOps, the other project management frameworks such as maybe Scrum, we can say Kanban, we can say, they little bit failed on focusing the business results. Okay, they little bit gave too much protection to developers. Especially it's a cliche. Everyone very strongly believes, hey, Scrum Master protects the team. He protects the team. I a little bit extend to this definition. Okay, protecting the team is fine, but then who is going to protect the business, right? Let's say now, in May 2020, 2020 May, we are now in the middle of a big crisis. Okay, all of us, are worried about our jobs. There is an economical turndown. Even we are not certain about our health. As I say to you, I haven't visited a hairdresser since 15 years. No, not so late, since 3 months. But anyway, this means, my hairdresser can't make money over me at the moment, right? Because I can't go there. I don't want to go there, not now, right? So somebody has to protect the business, okay? This is what, the other, agile software development and delivery processes failed a bit, okay, including Scrum and Kanban. And this is why I, like quite a lot, Manish's description, and more controlled, again, what you are controlling is the business results to begin with, okay? Because if there is no business result, especially days like that, okay, especially there are a lot of risks going on about our, features, about our careers, about our salaries, and therefore it's quite important that we get the job done, okay? It doesn't really matter. Let's say I'm a Scrum Master of, let's say, 8 people here, 7 people, 9 people, whatever, I can't say, hey, we don't care about this requirement. It's not in our product backlog, yeah? Let's go away. Then what is the result? I made my job perfectly as a Scrum Master. What the documentation says to me, hey, I protected my team. I'm a great Scrum Master. Then guess what? My company fails, reaching the business results, okay? Maybe the example I'm giving here, not so perfect example, but what I'm trying to emphasize with what I'm trying to, underline here is, most of the agile processes, failed on delivering business results. This is why, if you see any failed stories in media, okay, about, agile, about Scrum, most of the times, agile frameworks fail because they haven't been perfectly integrated to the business goals of the organizations, and they haven't been properly tailored according to what a given organization would like to accomplish, okay? You can't basically get a guide and then say, you can't basically get the, even our books, I can even say it for our books, you can't get our DevOps, revealed book and then say, hey, this is how we do DevOps, okay? This would be, too naive, okay? Because every organization is different in many ways, okay? They are different in their, political ecosystem. They are different in their organizational structure. They are different in their, own products or services. They are different in their, own skill set of people. There are competent and incompetent people, and this ratio, changes from one organization to another organization. And the way that they used to work, the culture of the influencers, what the influencers have been defending in that organization since many, many years. Therefore, there is no one-size-fits-all solution, okay? This is not only for DevOps, this is for everything else, okay? Sometimes, I've been getting a question, the question is as naive as this. The question is this. I think I got this question yesterday. The question was exactly this, is Scrum product owner allowed to join daily Scrum meetings? Interesting question, I mean, does it matter? I mean, Does it really, matter to allow or ban people from joining meetings? I mean, we are teams, guys. We are basically here in that organization. You are here in your own organization to deliver business results, okay? Why do you care if Scrum product owner, can join a daily Scrum meeting or not, okay? This is not the focus, okay? This is not what we should be focusing, okay? What we should be focusing is the business aspect, okay? Because as a developer, as a QA professional, as a project manager, as an executive, whatever you do, okay? It really doesn't matter. You are there to generate business results, okay? And, some of the processes, okay, some of the agile processes, failed to focus on this business aspect. And therefore, DevOps now, bringing a fresh, ideas, a fresh blood to the IT industry, which also gives focus, not only the IT aspect of the things, but also, a huge focus, a strong focus on, educating people that they are, not only, IT, gals or guys, but also they are professionals. They are there, they are sitting on their, positions, they are performing in their positions to deliver, business results. And therefore, seeing, DevOps, not only seeing DevOps, okay, it's an IT process is a little bit, underestimation how much you can accomplish with the DevOps process, okay? You should see this as an end-to-end culture, okay? End-to-end philosophy, okay? And everything else you do, let's say, continuous integration, okay? Test automation, integration of development to the production system, one-click production deployment, I'm not sure if I can cover all this detail in great detail. Our training content, focuses on this, but let's say one-click, production deployment from development, These are all byproducts of the DevOps process, okay? These are all the results you are getting, but they are not basically, DevOps themselves. You should, when you think about DevOps, you must basically recall in your mind the set of principles, the set of philosophy, the set of understanding, and in the kernel of this understanding, there is only one single thing, okay, which is basically paying attention to business results, regardless of your role and duty and obligation, regardless why you have been hired for that particular role in your organization. Okay, I focus this point a bit more than others maybe, but really I'm already covering maybe a number of other slides that I'm going to walk through a bit later. But this point that I just highlighted is quite important. Somebody also asked me a minute ago, the difference between agile and DevOps. This is one of the major differences. Okay, DevOps is basically focusing the end-to-end principles and philosophy and the business results. Okay, get the job done. Okay, satisfy the customer. Whereas some other processes are more protective to the developers, okay? And, let me also share my observation. I see a lot of inefficiencies in many, agile teams because of this protection, okay? Scrum Masters are doing a good job to protect their teams, but they fail, delivering business results, okay? This is why, DevOps is now becoming the next generation of agility to ensure that we are not only, protecting our teams. Hey, we have been, defined this, sprint goals. We can't do anything. Let's go away. I don't care about your business goals. These discussions must be happening in your organization almost every day. Okay, in such an organization, you can't get the business results well and fast. And then what happens next? In the next crisis, we are all at risk. Okay, and DevOps will help us to sort out these issues. Okay, Anandi, collaboration of cross-functional teams. That's a good point, right? Again, cross-functional teams in everywhere in the organization, okay? Not only development and operations people, Anandi. And Satyam is a set of practice where development and operation combine together to make the things to sync if it comes to tracking and management. Yes, this is also one of the end results. Satyam, nice. Prashant said, leveraging expertise and seamless integration of developers and operation However, it can be applied anywhere where the requirement is to meet right customer experience by effective coordination. That's perfect. Yes. Now, Prashant's description already, you know, extending the diameter of what DevOps does. That's perfect. And this is not only for the internal work, Prashant. This obviously, you know, covers all the external alignment, external collaboration we do with our clients as well. And somebody said not limit to developer. That's perfect. I can't agree more with that piece of info, Jagadish. Thank you. And Ritesh, it can be continuous development and deployment of software, and stakeholders could know the status of development progress. Wow, that's a nice point, Ritesh. One thing that I can add here is yes, there is one thing that's you know, that has been given a lot of emphasis on the DevOps as well. You know, this term is called, you know, telemetry. If you are too new on the DevOps, you know, you may not know this terminology, but it's a very old term actually, telemetry, and its pure English translation is monitoring. Okay, and with telemetry, or so-called, you know, monitoring, in the DevOps organization, what we enable is, you know, we basically have the chance to observe, to monitor what is going on in different, you know, departments of the, you know, delivery chain of our organization. So this includes, you know, let's say, not only the metrics we see in the production, such as, you know, the CPU usage of a server, or the memory usage of a server, let's say disk usage, or, you know, number of failed, you know, login attempts, or number of failed, let's say, you know, sign up attempts, whatever, you know, number of failed, you know, payment transactions, you know, these numbers aside, but we also observe, let's say, how many test cases have been failing, you know, in the test automation framework, why they are failing, you know, what are their root causes, okay? And you know, telemetry will enable us, you know, with this red flags, okay? And then we have a chance to correct our, you know, course of action to basically, you know, this continuous feedback mechanism, you know, again, you know, feedback loop, okay? You know, remember, you know, feedback loop, it's quite important, you know, feedback loop, the continuous feedback loop. The feedback loop is not only the automation, because when you start developing DevOps today, you know, with the feedback loop concept, you may only think about test automation. That's correct, but not accurate. You have this feedback loop in everywhere in your organization. Let's say I'm the business analyst, okay? I do the business analyst for this piece of, you know, functionality. Let's say I'm doing the business analyst of an iPhone app, okay? It's an example. Then I give this the business analysis documentation, or I collect the feedback from my you know, architect, okay? Then, you know, this continuous feedback loop, you know, should be, you know, ongoing. And then I as a business analyst, I have to be, you know, continuously learning, and we have to be keeping track, you know, all this, you know, feedback, you know, how many times my document or my input have been, you know, unapproved, okay? How many times I have to review it. And, you know, as I said, approval, you know, let me also tell you, you know, one more important point, you know, approval concept, especially if you have been using, you know, ITIL, okay? ITIL process heavily relies on the approvals of managers, which is, personally, I don't like, okay? There are pros and cons, but personally, I'm not really, you know, a person who, you know, asks for approval from managers, okay? Because they are usually outside the real work, okay? They simply approve because they are in the end, you know, carry the risk if something goes wrong. But DevOps basically brings a different understanding on the approval, okay? Approval is no longer in the monopoly of managers or leaders, okay? Approval has been done by the team itself, okay? Approval has been done as a learning curve. And again, you know, if something fails, okay, if something goes wrong, let's say, then there is no finger pointing. Hey, Erkan, you messed up with this, you know, business analysis. Then things go south at the moment, okay? This doesn't work like that in DevOps. It works with post-mortem analysis, okay? Why we have been doing, you know, wrong analysis, you know? Is Erkan incompetent? He couldn't do business analysis? Or has Erkan been provided wrong information? Has Erkan been provided, you know, missing information? You know, did we put him under time pressure so he couldn't deliver, you know, good quality job? Okay, we need to understand what is going on. Okay, in every phase of our overall software development and delivery phase. This feedback loop we establish across all organization will help us to see what is going on with numbers, with digits, okay, to create the understanding how we can improve them. There is a cliche saying, you may not hear this first time from me, but for me this is one of the recent things that I learned. Let me share. You can't basically improve what you don't measure, okay? Let me repeat. You can't basically improve what you don't measure. So in order to improve something, you have to be measuring it. Let's say if you are searching for it, in life, in personal life as well, in professional life as well. Let's say you want to search for a job, okay? You want to search for a job, and then you send your CV. Let's say you send it 50 times, and then you get 49 okay, and then 1 invitation to the job interview. And then, okay, this is a number that I have, okay? This is my benchmark. This is my metric. My close rate for securing a job interview, 2%. I made 50 applications, and I've been invited only once. So this means I have 2% conversion rate, okay? So which is, I don't know, it may be bad or nice. Anyway, everything can be improved, right? So, but at least I know that my conversion rate is 2%, 1 over 50. And then the next step, what I should be doing is, if I make another type of, another, set of 50 applications, now I have my benchmark. Now I am measuring what I used to do and what I'm doing, okay? What I'm doing next. Then there's a chance I can improve, okay? If I didn't have this metric, I could only close 1 over 50 job interviews, then I couldn't have a chance to improve, my progress, okay? So DevOps is basically solely focusing on this metrics, okay? In every aspect of the process, from, let's say, if we want to build a hardware, okay, let's say from the conceptual analysis, let's say the architecture, the user experience design, user interface design, then we have a electronical circuit, and then there comes the GPS module, there comes the Wi-Fi module, the screen and everything, the cover, the packaging, and then let me pay attention to this point. The engineering finished, but the customer service didn't finish. Then we have to deliver this to the customer, right? We have to run a overall supply chain organization, right? We have to ship this, we have to support this, we have to process the defects and bugs and the customer feedback and everything, right? All this end-to-end flow from conceptual analysis until the end of the life cycle of this product, okay, must be measured with feedback loops. And again, I'm repeating, this because this is a very important thing that positively influenced my own, professional and personal life. I really hope and believe that it can help you too. What you measure is the only thing you can improve. Or in other words, without measuring anything, you can't basically have a chance to improve it. This is the important thing, and DevOps, implies that in every aspect in the process. In every every business station, there is a metric measurement between analysis and design and development, design and QA. Most of us already aware the integration between development and QA, right? We know development delivers something, it comes to QA, and then QA delivers the bug, and then the software comes again, and then we test, and then there is a continuous loop between development and test automation. Now with DevOps, we bring another feedback loop between operations and development, But this is not the only thing, because DevOps is not only, as the name implies, DevOps is not only development and operations, but it also covers the other workstations of the organization itself. And Munip's question: DevOps has been most successful in which product development environments? So this is an interesting question. Basically, there is no such a study that I know DevOps is successful in that sort of projects and unsuccessful in that sort of projects. But there are pros and cons about how you can apply DevOps in different organizational structures. Munip, For instance, there are brownfield and greenfield type of projects and products. With greenfield product, if you are not familiar with the concept, with greenfield product, what I mean is a product which does not exist yet, and with brownfield product, what I mean is a product which has been already there since a while, maybe continuous improvement phase or continuous maintenance phase. And these are called brownfield products. And in our consultancy engagements, for politically complex organizations, we recommend them to start with DevOps with the greenfield products, because greenfield products are not there. They are not immediately generating income for the organization, which means even if there are some setbacks in the application of the DevOps process, or even if there are complications in the DevOps adoption in that particular organization, as the product that they were dealing was a greenfield, was a non-existent project in that organization, then the impacts are not so big, are not so devastating, and therefore they can quickly recover. On the other hand, if an organization is a small or mid-sized organization where they are just getting started with DevOps and very open landscape, open-minded people, where people can tolerate mistakes and they are okay to do mistakes. There are no finger pointing, and they are happy to learn, and they have the agile people and skill set to correctly rectify problems and quickly move on swiftly, correct the issues on their own political and technical landscapes. Then for that organizations, we also suggest them, okay, let's get started with brownfield projects. Okay, let's get started with the existing projects. This also helps them. And another consideration, Munib, that you can do once you choose your products or services, you can also choose products related to data-oriented products, such as applications or softwares which are manipulating user data, such as the client data, transactional data, payment data. These are high-risk applications, right? Because you don't want to mess up users' data, or you don't want to leak your data from your organization, right? You have to be careful with that. Again, this data, focused applications can be tricky when you get started with your DevOps initiative. Again, for this kind of data applications may be a good start for startups to open-minded organizations. Whereas for very complex organizations, corporate organizations, where they have low to zero tolerance to mistakes, to issues, and finger pointing goes a lot. We can't basically change this, right, from today to tomorrow. But what we can say is, okay, let's try DevOps with low risk applications, such as presentation layer applications, such as your web portal, which do not manipulate any data, which do not present any confidential user data, because the risks are low. You just present easy to test, easy to do mistakes, and then for that kind of organization, presentation kind of applications are a better approach. So again, Munib, the correct question that we should be asking to answer your question is not what products or services do work better with DevOps. It's not the correct question, because DevOps do not exclude any type of projects or services, but DevOps gives you recommendations, the recommendations that I just explained to you with practical information that we have been collecting since many years with our own engagements. You need to choose what kind of products or services could work best in that given political, technical, functional, and people ecosystem that you are dealing with. And I hope this clarifies your question as well. Munib, okay. So this is an interesting way of presentation that I've done today. Basically, your questions also helped me to explain quite a lot. So I will little bit speed up, because we have spent already, we have spent already 1 hour. Therefore, I will a little bit give gas to make sure that I try to finish this in about 90 minutes. So we basically talked quite a lot about what DevOps is, but let me also tell you what DevOps isn't, to clarify that you don't make a wrong start with DevOps. Because in the IT industry now, there is a big misunderstanding going on about what DevOps is. DevOps is basically not a cloud, okay? You can use cloud to leverage the positivity, to leverage some of the components that I'm going to talk a bit later, to speed up your DevOps initiative. But DevOps is not a cloud infrastructure platform. It's not an operating system. Because yesterday or a few days ago, I received another question, which was asking, is Red Hat DevOps? Therefore, I wanted to add this. DevOps is not an operating system. DevOps is not only a tool or component. DevOps is not only a build and delivery software, and DevOps is not a combined team of software development and operations professionals. Okay, DevOps is not only, again, DevOps is not only development plus operations. It's plus, we can say, development, operations, and plus everyone else in the organization. This could be a better explanation of who is in the DevOps process. Katir asked or told something, any best case scenario for DevOps development using Scrum Master and DevOps? Please explain teams involved. So just one remark, I explained this question in very great detail, Katir, but I still want to ensure that you make your point. These things are not mutually exclusive, okay? DevOps is basically inherited a lot of things from Scrum. So you may deploy a person, even with the title of Scrum Master in your DevOps initiative. There is nothing and no one who can, ban this. Again, see this as different, ninja weapons, okay? That you can, leverage in your pursuit to deliver great products or services to your client. And therefore, don't compare them, just combine them to build the greatest results. Can you please share some business scenarios for better understanding? Interesting. Okay, so this is, our time is getting narrow, but let me give you one example, Anandi. One example is from Netflix, okay? Which I can give a number of Netflix that we are quite familiar with about Netflix, but let me give two of them, okay? In Netflix, I'm sure most of you are familiar or even a customer of Netflix. Netflix is a video streaming system, which is, I think, few hundred millions of customers worldwide, and they have 10,000s of servers scattered geographically all placed in the world. And obviously these guys have been continuously improving and deploying new releases to their products, right? And imagine you have like 40,000 servers, okay? 40,000, okay? Remember, sometimes in your organization you can't maybe manage even 4 servers, okay? Sorry, but these guys are now liable to maintain 40,000 servers. How would you do this, right? Would you make a patch to 40,000 servers and then make the servers for 300 million people down? It's not a good idea, right? You would create a very bad reputation. You would probably go to the first page of Washington Post if you do this. Therefore, they can't afford doing this sort of mistakes. So how do they handle these risks, Anandi, with DevOps? So basically, what they do is, let's say they have a patch which basically enhances their streaming logic. Let's say the codec where they use to stream, let's say, the video data, real-time video data from one of their servers, which are, by the way, on the cloud. As a fact, I know that they host, they are using one of the publicly known cloud service infrastructure. I don't want to name it. So they stream data from cloud to the client and end user. Let's say the Netflix app on my iPhone, okay? So they want to make a patch to the streaming logic. So obviously, we said they can deploy 40,000 servers in one go. How they do is they basically make a smaller sample of that 40,000 servers. They first deploy the software on, let's say, 20 servers, okay? 20 out of 40,000 servers, and then we say telemetry monitoring, right? Monitor what is going on, okay? Monitor how many stream connections have been rejected or have been abnormally terminated before or after they have been established from the client to the server. They monitor all this data, and then they build a trained knowledge about how this patch is going, okay? And then if they see things are not nice, something must be going on, the way Netflix deals with it is they even don't roll back the patch. This is a little bit extreme example, but they even don't roll back the patch. They simply terminate these servers which have the erroneous code on them. They simply terminate them. They simply shut them down, okay? And cloud terms, they simply terminate the servers and then launch up new servers with the previous version of the code, which they know that it's working okay. If it works, okay, let's say the scenario one, if the 20 servers with the new patch can't perform well, let's put them down and then come back with the good code on this 20 servers, okay? What if it's okay? Then they extend the diameter of their deployment from 20, they go to 100, okay? But they still keep on monitoring, okay? They have a special focus. They put a magnifier on that 100 servers, what is going on, okay? If they work, are the connections established? Are they performing well? Are they using appropriate memory? Are they using appropriate level of CPU? Is the network down? Is the connections terminated abnormally? If everything is okay or if something is wrong, okay? They check this quite comprehensively. And then if 100 servers are also fine, they then even further extend this to maybe 500 server, and then 1,000 server, and then 2,000 server, and then in the end of the few hours, if they see that everything is going well, then the patch is now for you on the rest of the 40,000 servers. So this is the one example usage, how DevOps handles DevOps process in their IT infrastructure. Another example, some of you may be familiar. This is one of the famous concept. Again, from Netflix, it's called Chaos Monkey. Okay, what Chaos Monkey does is it's an application written by Netflix, and then what Chaos Monkey does is it basically prematurely and randomly shuts down servers in production. So be careful. I'm not saying test. Okay, I'm saying production. It basically shuts down servers in production randomly, okay, to test how their resilience, how their high availability, how their failover mechanism, the correct word, failover mechanism, how their failover mechanism do work properly in their production system, because we have 40,000 servers, right? So if one of them goes down, you have a mechanism to failover the connections from the server which went down to another server, so you can still manage to stream the video data to my iPhone, so I can watch I think the White Lines, the last series that I'm watching last few days. It's a good series, by the way, White Lines in Netflix, so they can still keep on streaming White Lines to my phone. So basically Chaos Monkey helped them, how their high availability, how their the redundancy mechanism works on their DevOps servers. So this is one of the example, and this is again a long answer of your question, but I hope it clarified in your mind. Okay, you made thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Okay. Let's give formal definition then. So we talk quite a lot today with questions. This is the way I really wanted to do this presentation anyway. Today, as I disclosed you before, because again, the presentation content that I'm doing today is offline available, okay? You can watch it anytime you want. But I like the way we conducted this session today because we real time, you know, answer the questions, and this is the beauty of being online. Thank you, Lena. Okay, so here is the formal definition, okay? So what is DevOps? So DevOps is the harmonization of proven and successful industry agnostic, you know, industry independent production and service processes in their adaptation to software industry. In other words, DevOps is the process, principles, and underlying philosophy. So we made it underlined and bold, you know, process, principles, and underlying philosophy to develop and deliver great software everyone will love. Okay, this is DevOps. Again, you know, don't forget, I'm sitting, you know, almost 75 minutes. It's a very long time for me to sit without action. Yeah, but process, principles, and underlying philosophy. Please remember this, okay? It's not only development and operations, okay? It's the process, principles, and underlying philosophy. So then you will keep your mind open to keep on learning, okay? If you see DevOps as a process, principles, and underlying philosophy. I can't overemphasize this. Okay. Somebody asked me, I apologize, I can't remember your name, but somebody asked me, has DevOps, you know, been inherited from Agile? The answer is yes, but not only from Agile. There are other things such as, you know, lean movement. Lean movement is as old as the first Toyota factories in 1930s, 1940s, okay? Lean movement basically put a lot of value in the customer value, in the collaboration, in the integration of, you know, one business unit to another. So they put a, you know, continuous feedback loop between them, so they get real-time feedback and real-time correction. This is lean movement. And in lean movement, there is a, you know, I apologize, I can't remember the name, but in Toyota factories, if one of you remembers, please tell me the name. In Toyota factories, there is a string, okay, which is basically a string, you know, goes across, you know, one corner to the another corner of the factory, okay. Here I'm talking not only the information work, IT work, like we do, like most of us do, I assume. I'm talking the Toyota, you know, the car manufacturing factory here. No, it's not Abacus, it's something else. But there is a string, the string, you know, flows one corner to the another, and there is a how do you call it? There is a bell, okay, hanging for the string, okay. And let's say if I, you know, let's say I'm assembling the door of the car, okay, but let's say my duty in the factory is assembling the door of the car to the car, but I can't do this because the work center just before me made a mistake to put the handles of the mechanics, so I can't basically assemble the door to the car, so I can't fulfill my duty. So this means something is wrong. And what I do is, you know, I basically put the string, okay, which is hanging on the ceiling. I pull the string. I pull it, and then the bell rings, right? Then everyone in the factory hears this. The bell is ringing, okay? It's not nice, okay? So the bell is ringing, communicates everyone that our production line is broken. Okay, not so nice, okay? Our production line is broken, and therefore it doesn't make sense if the guy before me or after me, you know, continues their job, because if the guy before me continues, you know, his job, doesn't make any sense because he's creating defect, right? I can't, you know, assemble the door to the handle he manufactured for me, so I can't fulfill my job. And as I can't fulfill my job, I can't give the car to the next workstation, which is maybe, you know, painting the door that I just assembled, right? No, I'm just making up the example, but I'm sure you got the point. So the stream, the work stream, you know, failed. You know, this flow can't continue, you know, flow, you know, I said flow, you know, the flow is another, you know, important concept about DevOps, you know. Probably today I can't talk much about flow, but, you know, the flow is, you know, what we focus on the DevOps, okay? The flow, you know, should continue. It's not like the flow, you know, like maybe some of you try to accomplish while you work or while you meditate. I'm talking about here, you know, the manufacturing flow, okay? So the flow can't continue because the door handles have been, you know, assembled wrongly. So I pulled the bell, I pulled the string, the bell rang, and then everyone has been alerted. Then at this point of moment, what everyone should focus is how we rectify this defect, so we can again resurrect our production flow. Okay, this is now our priority. Again, in the no, it's not also Jidoka. It's something else. I will find out one day and I will tell you. Probably it's mentioned in one of our books or training contests. It is a very easy name, but I can't remember at the moment. Anyway, then everyone's duty is at that moment after the bell rang, then okay, let's look at what is going on. Let's fix this. Otherwise, our business, our workflow is done. We can't produce any more cars. Okay, which is not nice because we have order spending and we have to deliver these cars. And here we are talking about a car manufacturing factory which probably produces hundreds or if not thousands of cars every day, right? And therefore the production flow should continue. And then what have we done as DevOps? Okay, we basically simply inherited, this is one of the examples. Okay, not only this from Lean movement, but this is one of the examples. We inherited this, okay, from Lean to the software engineering, and then said, okay, if as a software, let's say developer, okay, if I can't make sense with this design document to do my job, which is I'm a developer, let's say, then I have to alert the team. Okay, yes, undone, perfect, wonderful, Prashant, bravo. It's called undone court. Perfect, thank you very much. So in IT, what we have done is, if this undone code has been pulled, or if there is an error, okay, in the overall design work center, then we have to focus on this and how we have to find out how we will, yes, thank you. Perfect. And we have to focus on how we sort out this issue. So this is what we're supposed to do in the IT system. So basically, what DevOps has done is, okay, let's look at the IT industry. Okay, let's look at the production industry. Okay, let's look at the manufacturing industry. For instance, do you know where Kanban comes from? Where the roots of the Kanban comes from? It's also very interesting. At the moment, I don't do any live class about Kanban, but I may do in the future. Kanban comes from supermarket shelf organization. Okay, the first roots have been done in the Second World War to maintain the stocks on the supermarkets, because until Second World War there was no challenge about managing the stocks in the supermarkets, because first of all, supermarkets have not been popular. Okay, and there was no war, and therefore there was no issues about supplying the content. But then the Second World War hit. Okay, here I'm talking about 1944, 1948. Then they hit to in Europe, especially in UK. They basically had to create a mechanism to manage the supermarket shelves, and therefore they build a mechanism how we manage all the stocks, how we basically plan the stocking. Therefore we never come to the overstock, but still serve our customers on time. Okay, and then all these ideas from the supermarket shelves first implemented in the factories. Again, this supermarkets concepts has been merged by Lean, and then later Kanban has been also used in the last 15 years in the IT, in the information work as well. Again, the principles comes from from very early supermarkets. It's very interesting, isn't it? What here we are talking about 2020. You joined the session to learn about maybe the latest and greatest software delivery process, which we call DevOps, but it's nothing new. It's there since probably goes like some of these concepts goes like 70, 80 years. It's nothing new. It's just harmonization. It's just the inheritance of the correct things and then appropriately applying them to our current information work. Okay, if you noticed, I didn't say software work. It's the information work. Everything that I'm discussing today can be applied any information work, okay? Say it, say it recruitment, say it HR, say it, whatever, okay? Even science, let's say if you are working in university, research institute, if you are researching something, even you can do it on your own. For my personal projects, for instance, I maintain a Kanban board. Is it mandatory? No, I could manage a simple checklist. This is what I used to do, but nowadays I'm using a Kanban board for myself, and I like it. It works pretty well. You can, embed. The more you learn about these principles, the more value you see them, not only in professional, not only in your career, but also for your personal stuff as well. Okay, anyway, I can't go all of them in detail, but yeah, continuous delivery movement is clear, especially among you who are developers and architects. I'm sure you know the concepts very well, but for you, it has been also quite important to understand that DevOps is not only continuous delivery. It's all about the history behind it, the philosophy, the principles, and then the integration between various different organizations, the continuous feedback mechanism, the continuous flow, and then the telemetry, the monitoring, the observations, and then how we integrate, all together into each other, so we get great results fast and ideally error-free. Okay. Okay, this is a slide where I go deep on the lean moment. I can't cover this at the moment. Continuous delivery. Let me put, again, this session goes longer and longer. I really probably could speak like 48 hours about, all this stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, as you are engaged today, let me continue, Continuous delivery moment, I want to focus on the 3 points that you need to understand, okay? Because recently, I hired a developer for my own company, and we a little bit discussed about the continuous, integration, okay? And for me, it's very, when I interview a person, for me it's quite important that this person understands the basic perfectly, rather than knows all the nuts and bolts of certain technologies, because nuts and bolts of certain technologies for me makes very bad interview questions, because they don't reveal anything about this person's ability to understand the concepts, to judge the concepts, and then to give the correct decisions. And what I observed in my own corporate career where I used to be, and in my own career now as a business owner, what I observed is the ones who knows the core concepts best always deliver the best results, okay? And therefore, in that discussion, we a little bit, deep dive, about the continuous, integration, which also called, continuous delivery movement, the wording coming from the history, okay? Bye, Suresh. Thank you very much for joining. There are a few concepts, behind, continuous delivery movement, and these are, not only, integration of a test automation framework, together with the development and test automation teams. There is far more behind this, okay? There are missions that we need to know about them so we can implement them as best as possible. Thank you too, Manish. If you are leaving, bye. Hope to see you later. So there are a few missions such as, visibility, feedback, and continuous deployment. See you, Manish. And mission 1 is basically creating the visibility, right? So we talked about telemetry, in parentheses, monitoring. So we have to create visibility, okay? Especially in my corporate life, as a leader, I had difficulties such as, when I asked the status report from another team, hey guys, how are you doing? It's a fair question, because your deliverables have an impact to my own work or to the work of my team. I have the legitimate right to know that how they are doing, if they're on the track, if they have issues, if they need my help or help from someone from my team, just tell so we work together. How are you doing? The answer is, oh, we just started our sprint. We don't know the result. We even haven't created our burn down chart. And yeah, let's come 10 days later after we conduct our daily sprint review meeting, then we will present you the results. What? This must be a joke. I mean, isn't it a joke? How can you tell me that you are running an agile organization? You call yourself a product owner, Scrum Master. Hey, we are a Scrum team. And then when I ask, how are you doing, guys? We don't know. The team works. This is bad, okay? If you basically enable continuous delivery, if you basically have agile, by the way, without continuous delivery, you are not agile yet, okay? You may come there, but if you don't have continuous delivery, I'm sorry to say this, but the organization is not agile yet, okay? There is something to be done there still, okay? With continuous delivery, what you want to accomplish is the visibility, okay? So everyone can see what is going on, When someone, asks the question like I asked to this team, how are you doing? It's quite easy. Let's go and check this report. You will see, the burn down chart, the number of tickets, the number of issues, the blocks, the impediments, and everything. And then, let us know if you have any questions, or let us know if you need any help. Okay, this is the professional answer that a decent person must be giving when he was asked for help, right? And then the feedback. This continuous delivery movement, the continuous, integration platform that we establish, gives, continuous feedback, not only to the IT team, by the way, it's also important. Not only to the IT team, it must be open. It must be open to all stakeholders, okay? To also non-IT people, also to the functional people, so they have a clue, what is going on. Transparency, okay? Transparency. It may not be easy, depending on what kind of organization you serve today. It may not be easy to talk about transparency, but without transparency, again, you can't implement a full-blown DevOps, okay? You can't implement a half-baked, okay? There is a more impolite version of this word, but you can only implement a half-baked version of DevOps without transparency. Therefore, if you want to be agile, you need continuous delivery. And if you have continuous delivery, you have to be transparent about the impediments, about the issues, and about the mistakes as well. Again, mistakes. We can't hide them, We are human. We all do mistakes, okay? As leaders, we also do mistakes as well. There is no flawless mistake. In fact, when you are a leader, you do the most of the mistakes, because as a leader, you do always unique challenges, okay? You deal with unique challenges, okay? Look at the dilemma, The leaders must be perfect, whereas the team is allowed to do mistakes if they are at all, okay? In contrary, as a leader, you always see challenges that you haven't seen before, okay? Not many things are repeating, okay? Maybe if you're a developer, you may see this similar type of errors again and again and again and again, okay? But the more you go up in your career, even as a project manager, even as a product owner, even as a release manager, even as a team lead of 3-4 people, or when the scale goes up, then the challenges always become unique, right? If I'm not transparent about them to my team, if I'm not bold enough to say I don't know, then how I can expect to get the trust of the people? Okay, then what's happening is everybody is simply wasting their time as if they are doing some work. This is the a little bit sarcastic ironic description about corporates. I'm not a big fan of political corporations, as you may have guessed until to this moment, if you follow me a bit. But yeah, if you want to, if I turn back to the original subject, if you want to implement the proper DevOps, you have to implement the continuous delivery. And if you want to implement continuous delivery, you shouldn't be avoiding, sharing information, including mistakes, and you should be seeing mistakes part of the learning curve of your team, of yourself, and of your organization. It's why it's quite vital for a DevOps organization to see that the mistakes are basically the food of our feature work. Thanks to the mistakes we learn. I put the word thanks in front of the errors. If you noticed. Thanks to the mistakes you have done, whoever is listening to this session today, thanks to this professional and personal mistakes you have done until this moment in life, until this moment in your life, okay, you are who you are, okay? This is so clear, right? I don't think many people can dispute against this. It's a quite common sense. Thanks to the mistakes you have done until this moment, you are who you are. But why we don't act like that in our own organizations, you know? Let's say as a developer or as a leader, as a scrum master, whatever who I am, okay? Why, you know, I'm not happy with the mistakes that I do. Instead, I try to be a perfection. I do great. I'm a great guy. I'm a perfect leader, you know. I give all the time, you know, great decisions. I do mistakes every day, and I'm proud of this because every mistake that I do help me to, you know, to do next time better, hopefully, okay? And I work hard on this, you know. Why we are not doing this as organizations, okay? Why we are not learning from our mistakes and not try to become better than what we used to be, okay? This, you know, this is the continuous delivery movement, okay? Next time, if you be asked, what is, you know, what kind of, you know, continuous integration, you know, tools you use, okay? If you do a technical interview as a DevOps professional, this is especially important for you guys, you know, the high-tech guys. Even, you know, some of them could be even, you know, could have, you know, more technical knowledge than I have. That's quite normal. You know, especially for the high-tech guys among you, it's quite important. Next time in a job interview, if you have been asked, tell me more about what type of tools you used about, you know, continuous delivery. Don't jump to the question by saying, hey, I use Hudson continuous delivery, we use Jenkins containers, so we basically integrated them to our, you know, Jira test automation suite, and we basically create, you know, daily reports. Everyone looks at this. Don't deep dive the technicality, okay? This comes later, you know. Don't, you know, throw all this information today. I'm sorry, in that moment, you know. Answer the question. That's a great question. I will come there, but let me a little bit explain you why, as organization XYZ, we decided to implement continuous integration. So we first observed that we had issues in the visibility. Then we figured out that the best way in an agile organization to create visibility is we have to implement the continuous delivery framework, because, so mission one, I covered in my answer, right? I'm now in a job interview. I covered mission one. So we enabled visibility because we had issues, you know, our program managers, you know, used to be unhappy, stakeholders used to be unhappy, you know, internal, external clients was complaining in our IT organizations. So I recommended my team lead, my manager, my director, whatever, you know, to let's create some visibility. So we built a continuous integration platform. And then the second point, because it was quite important, again, I'm in the interview, you know, because it was quite important for our organization to create this continuous, you know, feedback loop. Hey, you said continuous feedback loop. You know, probably the person who interviews you, you know, also be careful, okay? Don't outsmart people too much, okay, in the job interviews. This can also backfire. You know, I remember from my junior career, you know, this backfires all the time, okay? Always be polite, you know, don't try to, you know, outsmart them, because outsmarting anyone will never work, okay? It never works short term, it never works long term. Never outsmart, but still, you know, formulate your answer, you know, depending on the reaction of the other person, okay? Depending on how it takes. And if you are talking to a decent manager, okay, a decent hiring manager, these answers that you are going to give about continuous integration will impress them, okay? Because you didn't jump to the conclusion, hey, we use Hudson, okay? Everyone is using Hudson. Probably, I mean, I'm just making up a number in my mind, but I'm sure in the world there are like 250 million people who is using Hudson, okay? You know, the number may be wrong, okay? I just made up, you know, 250 million people in the world may be using Hudson, okay? And you are one of these 250 million people. How can you differentiate them from this, you know, 250 million people? You can't do this by saying, I am another guy who is using Hudson. Hey, I am one of 250 million people. Let's give me your job. You know, is the proper way to win a job? I am sorry, but this is not. So therefore, no, always understand the basics, okay? Always understand the basics, because if you understand the basics, okay, it's quite easy. If you understand the basics, then you will have a very unfair, very wild, actually, even a wild, you know, very wild, you know, competitive advantage in your career. No matter what you do as a developer, as a tester, as a quality assurance professional, as a project manager, as a release manager, as an executive, you will basically overtake everyone else, okay? Just understand the basics, okay? Then everyone else will be quite easy. And then now I'm still in the interview. So I said we had issues about visibility, so we implemented continuous integration, so our clients now happy because we provide them feedback. By the way, our continuous deployment also helped us to do continuous production deployment to our production systems. No, it's not only about putting one piece of code from development to the testing framework. It's also all about one-click production deployments, which is very nice, right? You click and it's deployed. Now, of course, it's not so easy, and in the process, you need to cover telemetry. In your answer, you need to cover the flow. You may give this unconcord example. Thank you very much for. I can't see it on my message flow, but one of you found the word. Thank you very much for highlighting the unconcord. Now, mention about this. Then you will see that the person who interviews you will see that you understand what you are talking about. Then you can say, hey, by the way, for the technical, let me also cover the technicalities. We also use Hudson, we also use Jenkins container, whatever you use, okay? You know better than I do, I'm sure. Then you cover the technicalities, okay? Then you get the job quite easily, Such a candidate who knows the basics, you can't be easily eliminated because no one else knows the basics. It's quite funny, right? Think about your own experience, especially if you're a hiring manager, how many people, knows the basics. And the way, my own style in the job interviews, I really ask very, very basic questions, very stupid questions even, you can say, you wouldn't even, imagine, some person, can ask such simple questions, but the answers of some simple questions, reveals the real, gem, for the correct, candidates for the job. Therefore, pay attention to the basics. Okay. This goes on and goes on. Continuous delivery. Toyota improvement kata. Toyota improvement kata. This is also very, very valuable thing. Many people think that the sprint. You know what sprint is. The increments where we deliver and develop software in agile software frameworks. Most of you may think that the sprint concept has been invented together with Scrum framework. Actually, no. It has been implemented again by Toyota, and it's called Toyota Improvement Kata. And it works like that. I don't know how big you can see on that screen here, but there are some numbers and circles on the chart here. We first start get the direction for the challenge, right? Now this is what we do in our sprint planning meetings, right? And then grasp number 2. It's on the left bottom side of the figure. Grasp the current condition. We basically assess where we are, and then 3, establish your next target condition. PUC, try to tie it with a date, and then number 4, conduct experiments to get there. And this is what we do in the sprint itself. So this is basically the process, not only to run a software house or software sprint, but also you can use this to improve your own processes as well. You can see Toyota Improvement Kata not only as a software delivery or planning aspect of DevOps, but you can also leverage this to improve processes. A process to improve processes. Very interesting. A process to improve processes. Another one, which I don't think I have this in the slide deck, but another one is called Ideal. I can type here. You can check it out if you want later. It's called Ideal. Ideal stands for, if I recall it correctly, initiate, define, establish, act, and learn. In the initiation, again, you may need this info when you start DevOps. Ideal, initiate. You initiate this, new process in your organization by getting, sponsorship. Okay, so this is the I of Ideal, and then define. You define the goals. Okay, what do we want to get? Let's look at the last slide. What you want to get is visibility. We want to get feedback. We want to get continuous deployment. Some of the goals. We want to reduce the number of defects in production system. We want to reduce the lead time from from finalization in the development machine of a user story to the deployment. We want to shorten the lead time. You know, this can be some goals you can define in the defined phase of ideal. Another one is established. Then you establish a plan, right? You establish a plan and then you execute it. You run your plan to get the results and then you act. So we planned, we established it, and act. Okay, we implement it. We do it. We do the real work, and then we learn. And then guess what? As we have been learning it, we already established the feedback loops, right? We made it visible. We made it transparent. I didn't say anyone I will go into everything perfect. In contrary, I have been quite open that with our current knowledge of, you know, with our current level of understanding about our organization, look at the kata here, with our current level of knowledge, with our current level of, you know, knowledge and conscious, we attempted to give the best decision. We planned it, we are acting on it, and we put feedback loop. So if I mess up, if I do mistakes, then I'm going to learn from them, right? And then here comes the L part of ideal, which is learning. So I learned it, and then the feedback goes all the way back, you know, one more ideal, you know, especially for the ones among you. Sorry, after 105 minutes of speech, I'm losing my voice now a bit, but yeah, I will continue. So especially among you who is in charge of, you know, establishing processes, establishing, you know, the frameworks in your organization, you know, this kind of processes such as total improvement kata and ideal, you know, you can Google it or you can check it on Wikipedia. I'm sure it's documented very well. You know, for this type of process for you are quite, you know, vital to implement the adoption of new processes in your organization. And again, you know, this kind of, you know, info such as total improvement kata and ideal will also quite help you in your next job interview as a project manager, as a scrum master, as a product owner, as a let's say change agent, right? The trendy word change agent. Change agent. What does change agent do? You know, change agent drives the change, right? There aren't many change agent, you know, formal titles in the job descriptions, but change agent is a very, you know, critical role that we need in many, you know, organizations, because we need people who, you know, who have the experience, know-how, you know, who basically, you know the issues in the in the adoptions, right? You know, if you're a change agent, if your next job that you are going to be interviewed has a change agent responsibility in its description, then it's fundamentally important for you that you understand, that you know this, you know, processes which are specifically used to improve processes, because you can't simply say, I experimented very well, I brought the ideas, you know, I collected the guys, I made kickoff meetings. Fine, yeah, probably another 100 million people in the world has done, you know, Scrum kickoff meetings, DevOps kickoff meetings, right? So the question is always, how would you differentiate yourself, okay? How would you differentiate yourself from the crowd, you know? For instance, someone in that session, like an hour ago, asked me, you know, what is the difference between my competitor and me, okay? My competitor and me is, my competitor is nowhere, okay? You even don't know my competitor's first name and last name, right? Because they are behind shadows. Most of them are not even legitimate organizations, right? But I am here with my name and face, and then giving you a free lesson, okay? This is how I negotiate, how I differentiate myself from my competitor. I am not another guy, okay, who gives DevOps trainings. I am putting my own time and energy here, and then I've been talking for, like, let's say, about 2 hours without any expectation of a financial gain, right? This is, you know, how you differentiate yourself from the rest of the crowd, okay? This is, you know, if this person is still in the call, I don't know, you know, this is the difference, for instance, one of the many differences, one of the, you know, many different things that we do for our students that our competitors will not do. How many free sessions did you join from the major people that you know by name in the agile industry? What did they do for you? What is the answer? They have done for you nothing, okay? They are there to collect automated cash, okay? To collect money from their training machines, okay? But in contrary, I am here with my face, with my name, with my time, with my energy. So this is what you're supposed to, work in any kind of, business setup. If you are being interviewed by someone, just go the extra mile, okay? Just show them you went the extra mile, and this is how you accomplish it, with your competence, with your know-how. There is a reason, you joined the session, you saw my picture with few words that I just said there, and in this chart, what I say is, your security is your competence. This is something that I firmly believe, not only for you as potential girls and guys who want to learn DevOps. I also believe in this world firmly in my own career, in my own personal and professional life as well. My security is my competence. Okay. Today I am teaching Scrum, DevOps, Kanban, project management, whatever. Okay, because these are important things. But I can't know for sure that no one can know for sure that I can still make a living, by teaching this concept. They will be there, but is there a guarantee? Can anyone guarantee these subjects will be still important? Probably they will be there, but there is no guarantee, right? There is no guarantee for me, like for you, We should be keeping ourselves up to date, because our security, especially in these tough times, okay, our security is the competence. Nothing else is our security, You may have the best job, you may have the best boss, you may have the best client, you may have the great, salary, everything perfect. But again, I'm telling you, there is no guarantee, okay? When you are unemployed, you are just like one of the other millions of unemployed people. There is no difference between you and them when you look at from the bird's eye point of view. But when you go to a job interview, then you should highlight your experience, your know-how, your competence, okay? You should make them clearly visible for them that if they say no to you, okay, they will lose you, okay? And this is what you should believe as well. Because, for instance, as an entrepreneur and business owner, what I've been doing is, I am offering, 10 times better service in terms of, price and quality ratio, okay, compared to my competitors, okay? And I really feel, pity for the persons that I can't win for one or another reason, because they lose such a great chance to learn, such amazing programs in very affordable ways, okay, from people who basically, pay great attention, who care about them, okay? This is so much I, believe in my business, okay? This is so much I believe in the services I provide. This is how you should be also acting as well, okay? You should sell yourself, okay? You should bring all this know-how to a job interview, to a business setup, okay? And give them the freedom to say no, okay? You're free to say no, okay? You can even say this, okay? You can, you may not like me, fine, okay? You can feel free to say no. Then I would be happy to leave this job interview even earlier than planned, so we don't, spend or waste each other's time. So we simply go on our ways, okay? This would be their loss if they don't see the value in you, okay? You should always see, in that way. And to come this level of confidence, okay, what you need to do is build your competences, okay? Build your competences, because no one else does this, okay? In the social media, you may be seeing a lot of certifications, okay? From my companies or from other companies, I can't see anything in social media nowadays but certifications, either from my own companies or from other companies. There are a huge number of certifications everywhere. Everyone is doing certifications. It's fine, but this is enough. Certification is just a start, okay? Just a start on a long journey, okay? You should be, following everything in your own, array of interest. You should be subscribing mailing lists. You should be reading. You should be watching videos. You should be listening interviews. You should be joining sessions like that, to observe, people's mindset, who have done this before you. You know, this doesn't mean I am better than you. This only means that I've experienced this once, and there is always something you can get from everyone else. Okay, this is the chance that you use today, and I really appreciate this. So this goes on and goes on. Let me check what I can cover on the knowledge part of the presentation. Maybe a few results with DevOps. You know, basically, you continue to deploy, you organize your teams around your mission, you achieve systems to achieve business goals. Okay, no more, you know, building systems without having an idea what we want to accomplish in our business. And we create with built-in quality and monitoring. You know, quality is not in the monopoly of quality assurance professional. Okay, I'm saying this because you may think that you have the monopoly of quality assurance. Okay, no. Okay, if you're a developer, you are also liable to ensure that you take good care of the quality. It's quite important. Oh, sorry. Yeah, thanks to errors, you learn and teach. You know exactly what I said to you some minutes ago. I'm taking errors. Okay, they are my food for my growth. Okay, they are quite important. My personal and professional extension, my ability to grow further than my competitors, is basically limited my ability to accept and recognize and to appreciate the mistakes I do. Okay, if I avoid mistakes, then I can't do anything. You are not exception. Your organization is not exception. We have to be thinking to errors. And if your organization is rigid, oh, we do everything perfect, everyone is hiding the problems, nothing is transparent. Maybe it's a better, you know, maybe it's not a perfect time, but we should be really thinking of working with open-minded people who gave you the chance to do mistakes. Then you can improve. Okay, in an environment where no one is allowed to do any mistakes, no one learns because no one tries. Okay, imagine a child who doesn't try to walk. Can he ever learn walking? Answer, no, right? No child can learn walking without trying. So it's the same for us as professionals. If your ecosystem of your organization doesn't allow you, okay, to do mistakes, to try new things, to, you know, extend your horizons, then you are limited to where you are today. It's not a good point to be. Staying where you are is not a good point to be, okay? It sounded a little bit interesting, but I really liked it. And in DevOps, what is interesting is in many teams, basically, when the team size or size of the team grows, then the productivity reduces, and we can measure the productivity, for instance, number of check-ins for each developer. Okay, and in high performer DevOps organization, the situation is a little bit different. And here there's a chart to describe this, and on the vertical axis of this chart, you see number of check-ins done by per developer, or you can call it number of check-ins per developer. On the horizontal axis, you see the number of persons or number of developers working for the organization. And as you see in the mediocre and average organizations, the number of check-ins either reduces or they are, you know, barely stable. Okay, but in the high performer organizations who really can adopt the DevOps, you know, precisely, their number of check-ins per developer, you know, increases when the team size increases. This is very interesting, you know, to know. This is one of the good aspects as well, why you should pay attention to become a good change agent in your organization. There are some metrics that I'm skipping here, but in summary, DevOps causes good things for organization. All these things are in a way in our training materials. Here, there are some more metrics. How you should start your DevOps in your organization. This is a nice subject to cover for a session like that, but as I'm live for the last 2 hours, I'm really skipping this. But again, this subject is covered in great detail, including what kind of organizational structure we need, you know, how we basically have to convert the matrix organization to a silo which focuses on the functional deliverables, and then from ideal team size to how we basically create different teams if we can't basically fit our team to a predefined team size by DevOps, and what kind of architectures, you know, would work better than other kind of architectures, and again some other tips and tricks how you can get started DevOps. And then this is one of the questions that I received from one of you in the early stage of the presentation. How you become a DevOps expert, how you basically establish yourself as a DevOps expert. These are basically a number of good tips you can apply in any industry. Okay, basically, I really didn't want to cover this, but let me talk a couple of minutes about this, because this is really important. Again, you can leverage the rules that I'm going to cover here, not only for the DevOps, but also in other dimensions in your professional life as well. First of all, act like a DevOps expert and think, work, and live in a way that your team members wish they could live. Does it make sense? In order to make them believe in your cause, you have to basically show them the path. Okay, this is a leadership motto. Okay, think about the last time you voted a politician. How you choose this? How you decided to vote someone. You decided based on whose opinions, whose vision is closer to your own personal vision, right? Hopefully. So basically, again, your teammates, basically follow your cause if they see that they share the same vision as you, and therefore, you have to create them the understanding that you bring them a vision which fulfill their own visions. And rule number 2, maintain absolute certainty. Again, maintaining certainty takes time, takes effort, takes knowledge, takes courage to do big mistakes sometimes. Okay, then you'll basically maintain this certainty and confidence. Again, one warning: don't be a stubborn person. Okay, don't think that being certainty doesn't give other people the chance to challenge you. Okay, if you don't let them challenge you, then they won't pay you attention. They may pretend like they pay attention to you, but they won't follow you. Okay, maybe like your manager. Okay, a good example is your manager, like many managers, right? Why don't we like our managers, right? A good question. Why don't we like our leaders? Why don't you like the prime minister of your company, maybe? Okay, why don't you like your CTO? Why don't you like your CEO, right? The answer is most probably these people are so certain, too much certain, they don't pay anybody else's opinion any more attention, right? They are too certain. So don't be too certain, but you have to be certain and confident to make people, perceive you as established as a credible expert. It's quite important. In rule number 3, don't be boring. So be sincere, be open, give them chance to experiment, and also celebrate success. And not only success, celebrate lessons learned too. As also an entrepreneur in my life, I have failed more than I succeeded in different, industries. Okay. And the way that I look at the failed projects are, I'm really grateful for them, because without them, I couldn't succeed anything in my life, right? It's the same, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to celebrate lessons learned, to celebrate your failures, because each new failure will give you a better opportunity to perform better next time. Don't, underestimate the chance you get from your mistakes. I can't again overemphasize this. And understand what people need, okay? Because if you, again, this is particularly important among you who are leaders, understand what people need, okay? People will do anything for those, who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, take away their fears, confirm their suspicions, help them throw rock at their enemies, okay? For instance, one of the questions, that I receive is, why I give people the right to redo our exams if they fail completely free of charge. Because most of our competitors, recharge their people when they fail the exams, right? You do an exam and then you fail and then you pay once again, right, to do the certification exam, right? But why? What is the point? I mean, I don't know. The way that they think, I don't know how they think. I think they see this as a cash, machine, and therefore, hey, this guy failed, let's get his money again, okay? This is how I approach the education business. But in our case, you know, why, you know, if you ever think, why do I offer, you know, free of charge, you know, attempt to retake the certification if you fail? Because in our certification programs, if you join, if you fail the exam, what we do is, you know, we free of charge and immediately reactivate your exam access code, and now you can take it once again whenever you would love to. So why do I do this? You know, one of the reasons why I do this, you know, I basically take away your fear. Sorry, I basically take away your fear. Okay, I take away your fear, so you don't have to worry about this. Okay, and I can't care less of the extra money you pay for it. Okay, because I am not in that business solely to make money. Okay, if I had been in that business solely to make money, I am 100% sure that I couldn't have made any money. Okay, but I'm in that business to serve, to simplify, to help people, you know, to encourage their dreams, to justify their fears, to offer value for them that they couldn't get otherwise somewhere else. Okay, this is, for instance, a success recipe for me, and why not for you? Again, you know, in your team, if you want a junior person to follow your path, understand what they want from you, understand what are their fears. Are they worried about their careers? Are they worried about the project you assigned them? What makes them worried? Okay, what makes them think? Okay, when they're in the bed, you know, when they put their, you know, heads to the kitchen, when they put their bed when they put their head to the bed, you know, what are the first things that they pop up in their mind? Okay, this is for me a good indicator to think about, you know, what I need to maybe adjust in my own life. Okay, if I'm worried about something when I'm in the bed, then this means there is something to be done there. Okay, for your people, you need to understand what they are thinking when they went to bed in the night. Okay, what makes them worry? Okay, what makes them inactive? Okay, what makes them, you know, stop to take an action to bring them to a better, you know, career for them, better future for them, better, you know, enabler for them, better performer for them. You know, think about this and then give them. And by the way, you know, don't try to be medium as well. Okay, don't try to guess, don't try to assume. You have to, you know, establish yourself as a very open person who basically can talk everything with everyone. Okay, you can simply ask this question. Precisely, you can ask this question. Okay, what do you think when you go to bed in the night? What makes you worry? Tell me, so we can work on this. If this is something personal, of course, you know, I can't do anything about this. But if you want to tell me, you know, what are your professional concerns that you know, sometimes recall when you go to bed first time in the night? Okay, let's talk about this. Okay, it's not a stupid question. I mean, why not? Then you see how much valuable information you can get about them. This is exactly what I told you. Actually, Leonidas Marquez is it only for me or others have the impression that this turned into a leadership lesson? Also, this is thank you too, Leonidas. So this is what I also told you. You know, it's not only about, you know, being a DevOps expert. You know, again, you can apply this strategy for everything else you do in your career. And thanks for the feedback. And care a lot, you know. Again, you know, one of you said, Ionella said about leadership lessons. Again, care a lot, okay? Because only way you get something back, you know, to make them follow you again, you know, showing, you know, sincere interest in their own, you know, goals, objectives, and needs, and then, you know, they will pursue you. They will listen to you, right? And then offer your team members value from their relationship, especially perceived relationship with you. Okay, you know, why they are coming to the job every morning. Okay, what makes them, you know, motivated? Are they coming? You know, I work with different, you know, type of people, you know, with different objectives, including, you know, stealing my business ideas. Okay, they came to work for me just to, you know, just to copy and paste my business models, and some of them did. Some of them are my direct competitors. They simply copied and pasted what I have done. So they are not, you know, there visible because they are not, you know, showing their faces, because they are not there in that business to serve, but they are there to, you know, earn money. But some of them came to my, you know, office to work for me, to steal my business idea. Some of them come, you know, to get promoted. Some of them come to learn, to sincerely learn, and then, you know, maybe establish a better career than my company can't offer them in the future. So some of them came just for the, you know, company, you know, just for the, you know, social relationship. You know, I work with very, you know, here I'm living in Switzerland, and Switzerland is, you know, one of the richest country in the world, and there are many people who come to job just for pleasure, not to earn money, because they have enough money that they inherited from their own families, right? They come to job just to build, you know, social connections, just to keep their brains, you know, active. You know, I worked with all this different type of, you know, stereotypes, and, you know, the same message, you know, the same motto that motivates me can't motivate all these, you know, different types of people. You know, I have to give them, you know, what they are, you know, looking for, you know, being part of my business. Thank you, Kay. Bye bye. Hopefully see you later. Okay, your moral obligation in the end, you know, after having given, you know, these tips, you know, if you believe in your mission, it's a software professional, or it's a professional in general. By the way, in parentheses, you know, disclaimer, software professional doesn't mean a developer or tester or a technical person, okay? You can also have a non-functional role, such as, you know, leader, project manager, program manager. It really doesn't matter. Then you have a moral obligation. And this moral obligation has, you know, improved the way you and your team works. So this is now, you know, you can't get away after having, you know, gotten so much information about the DevOps philosophy, okay, about the DevOps, you know, roots, about, you know, these concepts. You can't get away with this. Now you have this moral obligation, you have this professional obligation to strive best, okay? What I can understand and appreciate is maybe your current work may not allow this to do, but the DevOps lesson that I, you know, articulated for you today is basically where the industry is going, okay? Where the industry is going is, you know, the businesses do have very kernel, very core and small businesses, and everything else will be outsourced. This is where the industry is going, okay? This is what is going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months. Companies will shrink because of the economical, you know, downtime. In order to survive, they have to, you know, shrink, okay? And they will have a core team. And if you want to be a core team, which creates value for that business, you have to embrace this mindset. Or, I mean, this doesn't, obviously, if you go out of the kernel businesses, then you have to, of course, you know, you'll have remote work chances. That's also fine. But if you want to continue the current status quo as you have today, then you need to, you know, start adopting processes, and you need to do this now, not tomorrow. You need to start building these principles as quick as possible. So this is the functional and technical part of that presentation. So we have a small offer today. I don't want to deep dive, you know, too much about the details, you know, because the session is not about the offer. The session is not about the certification programs. You know, everything is there on our website. And I'm sure that, you know, probably some of you are you know, our students from our other, you know, organizations, either from DevOps Academy or Scrum Institute, and therefore I don't deep dive about the process, how we do, etc. Still, if there are questions about the certification process, how we work, how you study, etc., I can give some brief info, but I will straight jump to the offer. So basically, the special offer that we prepared for you today is, normally we have a bunch of, you know, DevOps certification programs, and they have obviously different prices, right? And with the special offer that we prepared for you today is, if you choose, you know, 5 programs, right? If you choose 5 programs, you will have a fixed price of 497, and these 5 programs basically can cover everything you do today, plus what you need to do in the future. Okay, don't look at only today, right? You may be operational professional at the moment. You may be a developer, or you may be a project manager, or you can be a release manager, doesn't matter, but you may want to become a leader, right, in the future, especially what you have learned today, especially now after you know all this, techniques, how you can step by step establish yourself as a leader. It's not a journey from today to tomorrow, but you now know the basics, and if you work hard on them, then you will get there, right? So think about what you do today, and then what you want to do next, and then choose 5 programs, okay? And normally on our webpage, if you choose 5 programs, the price can exceed even $1,000, okay? But now you have this unique chance today to have these 5 programs and then get all of them $497, and including all of our training content, including the training book, okay, the training videos, our training portal, and plus a recorded version of the session, probably not this session, but another session, but covered again the same type of information. And you basically will be invited to the other, to my other, live session that I'm going to conduct in the future. Okay, so this will be all included in this package, and everything is included in the price. No hidden fees ever. And again, there is an exam pass guarantee. If you fail the exam, it will free of charge and immediately reactivate your exam access code, and you can do the exam once again whenever you would like to. And if you may have any questions, we'll be pleased to help you. And yes, it's lifetime access. Rajesh asked, if you join the program today, there is no obligation to do all this program now or in the next few days. Exam access codes are typically valid for the next 365 days, but we can even extend the validity period of this exam access codes if you need it. So you will have 365 days, we can extend it to use them, and once you accomplish your certification, there is no renewal, it's lifetime valid, because DevOps is not changing, okay? The principles, the most important part, are not changing. There may be other tools, okay? Other clouds, other, continuous delivery platforms, maybe next year, maybe next month, but they won't, impact the core of the DevOps process that we are discussing today. Therefore, there is no point of certification renewal. If somebody, ever sells you any certification which mandates you to renew, be skeptical about this, because this is again another cash cow, okay? They want to, take the advantage of renewing you, okay? Take the advantage of a subscription business model, which basically doesn't make any sense in most businesses. For instance, it makes sense. Let's say if you're a Salesforce professional, it makes sense to renew the Salesforce certifications, right? Because Salesforce is, emerging. Salesforce today, some of my clients have been, I'm not a Salesforce.com expert, but some of my clients, have been, extensively using Salesforce, and I had a chance to, involve in their ecosystems to see what they do. Salesforce today is not the same Salesforce as it was, 3 years ago. Therefore, I can understand if you make it Salesforce certification, I can understand that you have to renew it in a few years. But for DevOps, okay, for Scrum, for project management, especially for project management, okay. So this is the main, money, income of PMI, especially for project management, it doesn't make any sense to renew anything. It's the same project management, okay. There are minor, details are changing in different versions of the project management book, but it really doesn't deserve any renewal. And therefore, in our certifications, there is no renewal. It's lifetime valid. As Rajesh asked, the certification exam access codes are valid for 365 days. Rajesh also asked about practical labs that we are conducting. So in our training content, we cover most of our tools that I mentioned today, including the tools for continuous integration, including tools for telemetry, including tools for feedback loops, including tools, from design to project management to planning, and then the reporting, how you basically plan and then in turn run the project. All these details, Rajesh, have been covered part of the training materials. So this is the offer. The link is the direct link to the offer is www.devops-certification.org/best. I can also type it if you want to. So it's also best on the screen. Let me check if I Type this correctly. Oh no, I couldn't type this correctly. Is the link valid, by the way? Has somebody tested it? Yeah, it's valid. Okay. Okay. So this is the link. So for that great offer for today. So this is the best price, by the way, we ever offer, because given that 5 programs can exceed even more than $1,000. Now we have a chance, 50% saving. This is the best discount we have ever offered. Now again, as I mentioned, if you register now, you will also receive your DevOps training material. Normally the list price for that, only DevOps video training, we basically sell them separately for about $500, $499, and this is also included on the training package that you will register today. Again, the access for our training portal, and in that image here, Rajesh, you see the different types of tools that it's a little bit a small image here, but there are many. All these concepts are covered, part of our training program. And you'll be also part of such meetings that we are conducting today. And normally today's session was free, but normally I do these meetings for about $200, and then you have this chance to ask questions like we did today, and then get my answers in real time. And the DevOps Revealed book for free. Maybe some of you have already downloaded, but if you haven't downloaded it, you can also get it for free. And yeah, this offer, all the bonus included, everything, $497. Again, with your best discount for your 5 DevOps certifications, you will get all of them, all these 5 programs and all the bonuses for $497. So you will immediately save few $100, as less as $500, and no hidden fees ever. So this is the registration link, devopscertification.org/best. So another question from Seon, format of the certification exam. It's multiple choice, open book exam. It's open book because the life is open book, right? So there is no need for stress, cameras, microphones and everything. You simply need a web browser with internet connectivity, that's all. It's a multiple choice. You can use any of our resources, videos, books, everything during the exam. You can use Wikipedia, Google, whatever, to inform yourself for the answer of any question, because again, life is an open book challenge, and therefore our exam is an open book challenge with multiple choice questions. Anando asked, in how many days could I take the certification? So basically, as I said, the exam access codes are valid for 365 days, Anandi, but this can be extended if you need. If you email someone from my team or even myself directly and ask for an extension, we can extend it. So there is no pressure to finish them in a given time period. And then after you finish the exam, your exam access codes again, the certifications are again valid lifetime. So this is all for, again, one more summary: lifetime valid certifications, DevOps certifications. And again, if you choose the combo of 5, the total value can exceed more than $1,000, and you get free bonus lifetime membership of such meetings like we do today, and now free bonus to lifetime access to DevOps video training and all feature updates. 365 days, 365 days. And lifetime free bonus to lifetime access to DevOps video training and all feature updates. And free bonus number 3, lifetime access to DevOps video training portal and all feature updates. And free lifetime access to DevOps Revealed book and all feature updates. The total, list price of all this stuff is almost $1,999. And now with this devopscertification.org/best, you have the chance to get everything for less than $500, which is $497. So that's all. And after 2 hours, 20 minutes, I think one of the longest inner circle meetings that I've conducted. But it was a good session, I believe. It was a helpful session to exchange information. The questions have been also very good. I think we had a very good audience today. Not all meetings are as good as today, because Hope you see when you get the correct questions which help us to get our goals closer, then you get, more, helpful information, more actionable information. This is what I liked about the session today. And I really hope that you also got one or thing from myself where you can apply in your next project, in your next job interview, in your next interaction with your manager, or in your next interaction with your team members. Sure, you can talk to me, Rajesh, whenever you want. If you answer one of the invitation emails, it directly comes to my inbox. Thank you very much. I thank you a lot also for your time you spent. For me, again, the world is now quite wild. A lot of challenges are going on, and no one even spends a few minutes to each other. And now you are here with me for almost 2.5 hours. It really means a lot. And for now, take good care of yourself, and I really encourage you to get started with that great offer, and then keep on building your confidence, your skills, and your competences. So I'm closing the session with these remarks, and I really thank you again, and feel free to reach me out whenever you may have any questions, and stay safe as well, and take care of yourself and of your loved ones. Bye-bye.